What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where we get higher than the tippy top of Feather Mountain in China and tell you guys some stories from mythology and folklore. Tonight, we will be going back to the Great Norse with some more Norse mythology. Some stories about the gods, I'm sure. Some Odin stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some Yggdrasil.
The creation story.
The creation story? Oh, shit. Yeah, this is going to be fun. So, yeah. Buckle up, folks, because you're in for quite a fun ride on this one. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and take it away there, Kimbo?
Hey, everyone. So, when I was doing these sagas, I didn't realize that it was, all one story that continuously flowed into one another. But, I decided I'm going to do the first two stories that begin before the fortification of Asgard.
The creation.
Thank you.
Yeah, the people are going wild.
So, again, I'm going to try and do my best to pronounce these names, and I am so sorry if I massacre them.
Oh, she's going to massacre some names, folks.
I am. I most likely am. All right, so this is super odd, but bear with me. When I first read this story, it was super quiet in the house, and the boys were working on some Howley Boys production scripts, and all of a sudden I let out a big ha!
Ah!
The boys would just stop and stare at me.
Oh, we did.
I did it several times because that's how fucking odd it is. It made no sense. I was like, why? But okay, and it's funny. Yeah. So here we go. Ice and fire. That is how life began. To the south is the realm of Muspel or Muspelheim.
Muspelheim.
And the whole region flickers and dances in flames. It seethes and shines, and no one can endure it except those born from it.
Yeah.
This motherfucker has multiple names. Black Surtur, or Black Surtur.
Mm-hmm.
He lives there, and he sits in the furthest reaches of the realm.
If you've watched any of the Thor movies, he's the big motherfucker with the fire and the helmet and the horns. In the Ragnarok, that would be him.
Yeah, he sits back there, brandishing his flame sword, waiting for the end when he will rise up and defeat the gods and bring about Ragnarok.
Ragnarok!
As foretold.
As was foretold.
The northern realm is called Niflheim, and there are canyons of ice covered in vast steep snow.
Niflheim.
And in the heart of the region lies the spring Harvelgmir.
Harvelgmir.
Harvelgmir. And it is the source of the 11 rivers.
Okay.
And they're called together they're called the Elvagar.
Elvagar.
So each one has a name. Here we go. Svol, Gunthra, Forjum, Bitholhol, Fimbolt, Fimboltol. That's its name. Fimboltol. Sleed, Hierid, Sleeg, Yigr, Vid, Lipit, and Jol.
Woo!
I tried my best.
Yeah, good job.
Please forgive me.
There's a lot of Nordish names there.
Yeah, okay. So my understanding is that these 11 rivers seem to be just giant ice waves that branch out from the spring. And it's super close to Hell's domain. But we'll get into that bitch another time. We'll talk about her later. She's pretty interesting. But the giant ice waves are frozen on top, and yet below is surging with different types of water, and it's mixed with poisonous venom.
Ew.
Yeah, so it said that Svol was a determined, very coarse, rushing river. Fimbolthol was a bubbling one.
Oh, little foamy guy.
Jol was pure frozen. Vid and Lipit were had thunder coursing through it. Like, each one was a different type of elemental water, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But mixed with poisonous venom.
Poison elemental water.
Yeah. And between the two realms was an emptiness-type void that they called Ginnungagap.
Ginnungagap?
Ginnungagap.
Okay.
It is said that the Elvengar that sprang up from Halvigmir flowed into Ginnungagap. Ginnungagap. And their yeasty venom laced in the rivers thickened and congealed like slag.
Okay.
Some of the venom spat out drizzle, which is an unending discharge of molten venom.
Ew.
And when the discharge settled, it turned into rime. It continued to flow until all of the northern part of Ginnungagap was covered with heavy layers of ice and frost. It was a desolate place haunted with sharp gusts of wind. And in the south of Ginnungagap, Muspel spilled into Ginnungagap until all of the south was a sea of glowing molten embers.
Oh, so the fire mixed with the ice. I see what's happening here.
Yes.
I'm starting to get this.
In the middle of Ginnungagap, where the fire danced with ice, was a sort of serene summer breeze evening type of feel.
Oh, that sounds nice.
As the warmth breath of Muspel drifted north, it met with the rime traveling south from Niflheim. When the two mixed, it began to thaw the ice. And as the ice dripped, life emerged from it, and it took the form of a giant named Ymir.
Ymir! What's up? My taint is super high.
Every time I hear the name Ymir, I think of South Park, and Shelly's like, Mom, I need to see my boyfriend Ymir. We're so in love. They've only fucking talked to each other on a computer. I'm like, oh, kids. Ymir was a frost giant, evil as fuck from the get-go.
Oh, he's not that bad of a guy, right?
That's just what I said. It was evil.
I think that was just justification for his murder.
The guy that actually went around in the 13th century and actually wrote these stories said he was. Most of the colonies that told him this story told him that he was just evil. Otherwise, why would Odin have killed him?
That's what I'm saying, is I think it might be justification for later deeds. He had a gun on him. I don't think he did.
He was pulling out a cell phone.
Yeah, I think Odin might just be racist against frost giants.
As Ymir slept, he began to sweat. And a man and a woman grew from the ooze that formed under Ymir's left armpit.
Gooey.
Bet you they smell like cheeseburgers.
Yeah, that's why we always smell like shit if we don't shower.
And his legs that laid side by side fathered a son.
Oh, hey there.
So between his two legs.
Yeah. Taint, sweat.
He's the first bisexual, they said. They claim. The first heterosexual that could reproduce with themselves.
Asexual. That's what you're looking
there
for.
We go. Thank you.
Yeah, where asexual reproduction. That's where they can reproduce with themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of gods that actually do that. It's very few. Far and few. There's one does it from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in China.
Well, there's a few. In the beginning, it's kind of always...
There's a Native American one.
It's always asexual reproduction in the beginning because there's no one else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, not always. The African story doesn't have it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's equal opportunity.
Yeah. Anyway. So Ymir is the forefather of all frost giants, and his children called Ymir Argamel. No, that's not right. That's the Smurfs. Gargamel.
They called him Gargamel. Nope, that's the Smurfs again.
Argamir. Sorry. Anyway, I'm just going to keep calling him Ymir. Fuck this. As more ice melted in Ginnungagap, the fluid took the form of a cow named Adumala. And it said that Ymir fed from the 4 rivers of milk that flowed from her tits.
Titty milk.
While Adumla,
Hop on in my titty river. It's nice.
while Adumla fed off the ice herself. She licked and licked the salty blocks of ice, and by the ending of the evening of her first day, a man's hair had emerged from the ice.
No, they just some dudes were already in there. They were just already here before everything.
On the second day, she licked and licked at the ice, and by the evening, the man's head was fully emerged. And by the end of the third day, Adumla's licking emerged the man entirely, and he was named Buri.
Bury. That's it. That makes so much sense. That's where buried comes from. Yeah. You were buried, just like that guy buried who was, covered in the ice.
Buri was tall, strong, and handsome, and in time he fathered a son. He called him Bor, and Bor married the daughter of Balthor, who was one of the frost giants, and her name was Besla.
Besla.
She gives birth to Bor's 3 sons. First comes Odin, then Vili, then V.
Odin, then Vili, then V.
Dude, I said that to someone here at work. I was like remembering their names. I was like, Odin, Vili, V. They're like, what the fuck did you just say to me? I'm like, I just told you the 3 gods' names.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
Obviously, one of them was clearly the most important child.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He got his own name.
Yeah. Odin and then the 2 V's.
And all of this is the beginning. There was no heaven, there was no hell, there's no earth, no moon, no sun, no stars, nothing existed except for Muspel, Niflheim, and Guningop. The 3 sons of Bor hated Ymir and his growing gang of unruly frost giants.
Oh, so they had a gang going on. They were doing some gangster shit.
Selling cocaine on the side of the street. They didn't like that.
They were hustling.
They didn't like that.
Yeah, maybe they were just out there trying to make some money.
Eventually, their hate grew so fierce that the 3 sons attacked and killed Ymir. From Ymir's fatal wounds flowed strong current streams of blood, and his blood poured so fast that it flooded the area and killed all the frost giants except for 2.
Jesus, near genocide, guys. Not cool.
Did you know not very many religions have the flood either? And a lot of the religions aren't even connected. They had no way of knowing.
Yeah, I know. A bunch of them have the flood. So a flood must have happened. Yeah, of some sort back in the days. Because there's all the flood talk.
Iran even has one on their own.
The Feather Mountain I mentioned in China.
Oh.
That's from their great flood myth.
Hey-o. Yeah. So anyway, it killed all except for Belgamir and his wife, who saved themselves by getting into their boat that was made from a hollow tree trunk that they rode on a tide of gore.
Jesus, that's the worst flood of it all.
That's your
bloody,
fucking
gory
grandfather.
Blood.
You're just fucking swimming.
Why does he have so much blood in him?
That's how big he was.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to think they're probably relative close to his size, right? They're riding in boats on his blood. Dude had to have a lot of extra blood tucked in there. He was just pressurized with blood.
Real. So
he had an anime character worth of blood inside of him.
Where it just keeps spraying for 10 minutes across your screen. You're like, this guy would have died after the first minute of spraying.
No, somehow I have 40 gallons of blood in my body. It's just all hyper pressurized.
And,
The second you poke me, it just...
Boom. Flood of blood. Odin, Vili, and V hoisted Ymir's dead body onto their shoulders and carried his body to the middle of Ginnungagap. And there is where they made the world from his body. From Ymir's flesh, they shaped the world. They made mountains from his unbroken bones, and they used his teeth, his jaws, and fragments of shattered bones to create rocks, boulders, and stones.
Jesus, they really put the guy to use.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
Salvage,
instantly, I have to resort back to the fact that I think they were probably covering up his murder because they got way into using that body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was an accidental or just a fit of rage, you're not going to be like, let's fucking cut off his jaw and see if we can make a mountain. Like that's some sadistic shit.
Mount Dick. Awesome.
Mount Dick. Yeah.
That's what I would call it.
Yeah. Mount Dick.
They took welters of his blood and made landlocked lakes and made the sea. And after they laid a ring of rocking ocean around it all.
Yum.
So they have the entire earth itself, and then they surround it completely of water.
Yeah. Because it makes sense, logical, that they would have already known that the earth is flat. It's just in a big lake.
I mean, I think they knew it was round because it mentions that they know
the
earth was round.
Sure.
Anyway, then the brothers raised Ymir's skull and made the sky from it. It was placed so that its four corners reached to the ends of the earth. They placed a dwarf under each corner, and their names were East, West, North, and South.
Oh, shit, that's how we get the directions, y'all.
Then the brothers took sparks and glowing embers from Muspel and made the sun, moon, and stars, and put them high up into the heavens of Ginnungagap, so that they could light the heavens and the earth. The brothers put each star in its proper place, some fixed in the sky, and others were free to travel about their particular paths. The three brothers marked out tracts of land and gave it to the frost giants and the rock giants, and they called it Jotunheim.
Jotunheim.
And the giants settled there and remained. Because of their hostile nature, though, Odin, Vini, and V built a further enclosure inland around it. They shaped it out of Ymir's eyebrows and called it Midgard. We're hanging out on the eyebrows.
On the eyebrows. And I really don't like that speech that they use there. I feel like that's really... they're really aggressive. Really violent by nature, so we need to quarantine them. Like, man, give them a chance.
No, what if they're like Hitler? Do you really want to give Hitler a chance?
Jesus, what does that mean? You should say, I'm not even going to get into this before I ruin our podcast. Okay, move on. Okay. Carry on.
So the sun warmed the stones in the earth there, and was the ground was green all around. Leeks sprouted and grew freely. Not wheat.
Ooh, leeks. Interesting
like,
choice.
Right.
Behold my leek field. That's a lot of leeks. Who eats that much leeks? We do. Leeks every day.
Mm-hmm. Then the brothers took Ymir's brains and flung them into the sky, and they became the clouds.
Oh, cute.
I laughed out loud with that. I was like, how do you get
brain clouds?
Seems odd.
He had real fluffy brains.
Cotton brain.
Cotton brains. His head was actually just stuffed full of cotton.
And just smoke.
Yeah, it's a vapor. It's not even... Yeah, when we broke open his head, it just kind of steam came out.
One day, the brothers were walking along the frayed edge of the land where the earth meets the sea, and they came across two fallen trees completely uprooted. One was an ash tree, and the other was an elm tree. A and E.
Oh.
The brothers took them and made them, and from them made the first man and woman. It doesn't say it in here, but there was another dude that was with them. His name was Homir.
Homir. He's the homie. It's Homir. Homir.
He was another just god of war.
Yeah.
There's another Aesir like them. Anyway, so they created man and woman. Odin then breathes life into them. He gifts them with the spirit of life.
Gift.
Vili gives them sharp wits and feeling hearts. And V gifts them with hearing and sight. And they name the man Ask. In the German, it's Askar.
Askar.
And the woman Embla.
Embla.
A and E.
A and E.
Adam and Eve.
Oh, shit.
Ash and Embla. Ash and Elm.
Oh, what? The plot thickens.
I mean, if you think about it, it's really tied kind of close to the Christian religion, but completely different.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
It goes completely different.
They've also got a thing for 9, by the way. We'll get into that later. And now we're just going to keep smoking weed and keep going. Woo!
Yeah.
This is a lot. Anyway, Ask and Embla were gifted Midgard to live in. All families, nations, and races of men descend from them. And that is it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Then it goes off. There was once a giant named Narvi.
Narvi.
Living in Jotunheim.
Who loved to fucking party.
And he had a daughter named Night, who was married 3 times. Her first husband's name, though really, all of this is insufficient. Her first husband's name was Naglfari.
Naglfari.
And they had a son named Odd. A-U-D. Odd.
Odd.
Ood. Her second husband's name was Anar. And together they had a daughter named Earth. Her third husband's name is Delling, and he shined bright and was actually related to the sons of Bor.
Oh.
And they had a son named Day, and like his father's side of the family, Day was radiant and fair in the face.
Okay.
Then Odin took Night and Day and put them in horse-drawn chariots and told them to ride across the sky every half day.
Okay. Yeah, that makes some sense there.
Okay. Night leads the way with her frosty-maned horse named Hrimfaxi. And Day comes behind driving the bright glowing maned horse named Skinfaxi.
It's interesting how they have night come before day instead of the other way. Most people have day come before night.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Night comes first.
Night comes first.
And he lights up the earth and sky alike. Continuing on to randomness.
Okay.
A man named Mundilfari that lived in Midgard had 2 children that were so beautiful he named his son Moon and his daughter Sun.
Oh.
Also odd, right?
Also odd. Do they hang out with night and day? Oh, spoilers, sorry.
Somewhat, I guess. I mean, technically, yeah. One day, Sun married a man named Glenn.
That's the only normal name out of here. Ronstofari non Flardenmarn married Glenn. Glenn was an accountant for
State Farm.
State Farm.
That's awesome.
He was an insurance salesman who was down on his luck.
And the Aesir, who is Odin, his brothers, and all of their offsprings, did not favor their match and were angry when she went ahead with the marriage. So the Aesir took Moon and Sun and placed them in chariots to move the Sun and Moon.
Okay. So they weren't the actual sun and moon, but now they have to move the sun and the moon.
Mm-hmm. Because their father is arrogant and named them a Sun and Moon, and they didn't like who Sun was going to marry.
Okay.
Like an ass.
Yeah.
Okay. So Moon leads the moon first and decides when it will wax and when it will wane. The man named Moon does not travel alone. He took 2 children named Bill and Hijuki.
Bill's Glenn's cousin.
They work together at
State Farm.
One does taxes, the other does finances.
They're very out of place in this ancient Norse world.
Those 2 kids were walking home from the well of Bragir. And they were carrying a water cask named Soeg and their pole named Simmel.
Soeg and Simmel.
I don't know. So it's Bill and Hijuki that are carrying a water flask behind the chariot.
Okay.
Of Moon, who is pushing a chariot of the moon and pushing the moon.
Okay. Forward. So they got a chariot and some water.
And it's, Aquarius comes from that shit.
Oh, okay. That makes
the water
sense.
bearer. You know what I mean? Okay. And the sun follows close behind the moon. Her horses are named Arvik and Alsvid. Odin installed... This is the most common word I can find. He installed iron cold bellows below the horses' shoulder blades to keep them cool. Not joking, that's what the fucking mythology book said.
Oh, damn. They're even accounting for the warmth of the sun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because no one can really be next to the sun. It's too hot. So you have to, install something to help cool it.
Yeah. It's interesting how they managed to account for the warmth of the sun, but not the space part.
I know, right? The sun and moon are always in a hurry, and that is because that they are being chased by wolves.
Oh, fuck that.
Skull, the wolf named Skull, chases Sun and is always snapping and growling at her feet. In the end, he will catch her. As so said, and that will begin Ragnarok, yeah. Skull's brother, Hati, chases after Moon. And in the end, Hati will get him. So after Odin, Vili, and Vi create the first man and woman and set night, day, moon, and sun in the sky, they suddenly remembered the maggots that squirmed all over Ymir's flesh. They crawled out and all over the earth. The brothers decided to give the maggots wits and gave them the shape of man. They were the dwarfs.
Oh, what? That's
so fucked up.
That's fucked up. You guys are good. You just like maggots with the shape of men.
They lived under hills, beneath the mountains, in rocky caverns and grottos. The dwarfs' leader's name is Modsognir, and his deputy's name is Durin.
Durin. Yeah, I know Durin. He's a good guy. Modsognir, and me and him don't get along as well. I always mispronounce his name.
Modsognir.
Modsognir.
I mean, I had these names down earlier this morning, but it got really high, so...
Yeah. That's the name of the show.
Then the brothers built their own realm, Asgard, a mighty stronghold, a palace of green valleys and giant gold-shining palaces that was built above Midgard.
Yeah. Seeing some really troubling signs with these Norse gods here,
The two regions are linked by a bifrost, which is a flaming rainbow bridge.
Yes.
It is made of 3 colors and was created using magic and great skill.
Fuck yeah, the rainbow bridge.
It's literally like the rainbows that we see. Because when the guy was describing it, he was like you may have seen it.
Yeah.
The rainbow of 3 colors that you walk by. You see
the rainbows. The rainbow road.
That makes more sense now. I was thinking this rainbow had 8, 9 colors,
nope, just
your
a
typical
rainbow.
shit.
When you see a rainbow that doesn't end.
Interesting.
That's the rainbow road.
Interesting.
Rainbow bridge.
So all of the Aesir crossed over and settled in Asgard. And all of this is the beginning of all the realms and all the regions of the world.
Okay. Yeah, so they just gave everybody their housing assignments. Okay, we're good to go, guys.
I mean, I didn't fucking write it down, but there's the light elves up in the north. I can't remember where they're from. There's the Asgardians up at the top, and then there's the Vanaheim, which are fertility gods, on par with the war gods of Asgard. They look exactly alike, same size, same stature. They have, their powers are very equal. Anyway, that's the north part. Then in the middle is us in Midgard. You have the dwarves in Nardalflim. Nardalflim. You have You have the dark elves from Svartalheim, which I think I got that wrong in the last episode. I thought Svartalheim was the dwarf realm. It is not.
Svartalheim.
It is the dark elf realm. And Jotunheim, the giants and the rock giants.
Jotunheim.
And it's not really clearly depicted, like whether or not Jotunheim and Midgard are two separate places, or if there's just a giant rock valley that goes in between Jotunheim.
There's a wall blocking them off.
Yeah. And there's no real clear description about that. They didn't need real clear description. You know, they had their own fucking imagination how shit worked.
Mm-hmm. And mushrooms. Lots of mushrooms.
Yes.
They had a lot of mushrooms.
And then below that was Niflheim.
Muspelheim.
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 And that is your 9 realms, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's the 9
And that's without
realms.
fucking looking at anything.
Yeah, that's just you sitting here all high trying to pull it out of your brain.
Like, because I didn't explain that anymore. Sorry. All right. So, all these regions of the world lied under the branches of the great ash tree Yggdrasil. It soared over all that is. Its 3 roots delve deep into Asgard, Jotunheim, and Niflheim, where there is a spring under each root. Yggdrasil is covered in sweet dew, which honeys come to make. Fucking. Or honeycomb. Where the bees come to make honey.
Honey.
A hawk and an eagle live in its branches. The eagle is at the highest point of the fucking tree looking down at all.
Fuck yeah. Like a bad motherfucker.
There's a squirrel that scurries up and down its trunk, starting shit between the eagle and the hawk.
Hey, hawk.
Sometimes he
Eagle
goes
said
down
you're a little bitch.
to Niflheim, where the dragons and the monsters devour the roots of Yggdrasil,
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
down by the spring in Niflheim.
Down by the spring in Niflheim, dragons devour the roots. That's fucking nuts.
Right? And deer and goats leap within the tree and they nibble at it. Yeah.
It's a pretty lively tree.
It's the tree of life. Yggdrasil gives life to itself, and then it gives life to the unborn. If that makes any sense. That's a pure quote.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. And that's the story. What do you think?
That's pretty dope.
I thought it was fucking odd as shit.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So the fucking...
I mean, a cow licks a human free from the ice. Just slowly.
Human.
There's gotta be
The
human.
dwarves being made out of maggots. That was pretty hardcore. I didn't see that coming.
It does not mention at all to me where the fucking elves come from, but I'm sure that's in the later part of the saga.
Probably. Or they were
I'm
just
sure.
already there because they're fucking tricksy little elves.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't even mention Vanaheim, but it's up here in this next story, this next parter that leads to the fall of the Asgard wall.
The fall of the wall.
It's called The War of the Aesir and the Vanir.
Oh, shit. I'm already excited.
It's pretty war graphic.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Okay.
That's what they're good at.
So it says that the witch Gullveig
Fuck her.
Gullveig came to greet Odin, and he did not greet her friendly.
Hi, Odin. I don't care about you right
He
now.
wanted to meet. She's a wanderer. She goes from like hall to hall and shit.
Oh, she's one of those.
Mm-hmm. Fucking hippie. Anyway. In Odin's hall, he and many other Aesirs listened and loathed as she talked about her love and her lust for gold. Gold,
I
gold,
love
gold,
gold so much. I just fucking lust for it. I am lustful for gold.
The Aesir thought that the world would be better off without her, so they angrily seized her and tortured her.
Jesus, guys, she wasn't that bad.
I know. Right? God. They riddled her body with spears and then hurled her body onto the fire in the middle of the great hall.
Teach you to talk about how much you like things.
She burned to death. But from the flames, she stepped out whole and reborn like a phoenix.
Oh, fuck. Phoenix Lady.
3 times the Aesirs burned her to death, and each time she was reborn.
God damn, they didn't stop.
They just thought, they're like,
That's
fuck
funny.
it.
She pops
Maybe
out.
she only got one life.
She pops out all feeling better. I am unburned. You cannot kill me. Grab her. Throw her back in the fire. Oh my God. What are you doing?
So fucked up. Oh. That's lemon pound cake, guys. It's
Lemon
good
pound
strain.
cake.
The servants of Asgard called her Heid.
Eat.
I don't know. As I said, she traveled all the time, visiting each hall, and she was also a seer, and she enchanted wands made of wood.
Wood wand. Go.
She would go into trances and cast spells, and she was the mistress of evil magic, a delight for any evil woman.
Well, I would say that she has every right to have an attitude after they tortured her and murdered her multiple times.
And has a lust for gold.
And has a lust for gold. Does she still have a lust for gold? Does she still
sure
talk
she
about it
does.
all the time is the question?
I think she does.
Oop.
That's probably why they were so irritated.
I'm just so hot for gold.
Apparently she's a Vanir goddess. You know what I mean? Goddess witch.
Such as Vanir, yeah.
When the Vanir heard how the Aesir treated Gullveig, they were pissed.
I could imagine that.
They swore vengeance and began to prepare for war. When Odin sits on his high seat in Volskov, Volosjov, there was nothing that could escape from his sight. So Aesir too sharpened their spears and polished their shields. Soon after, the gods moved against each other, and Odin threw his spear into a large group of Vanir, and that was the beginning of the first war of the world.
Oh shit! So wait, is that already Gungnir? His
No,
spear?
Gungnir hasn't even come in yet.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, because Gungnir
no.
hasn't come in yet.
I think that's like the 10th myth.
Oh, okay.
I'm going down the line.
Which is odd though, because they say through his spear, so you would assume that it's Gungnir that he's.
He just
throwing.
always rocks a fucking spear. Everyone notices.
Yeah, of course. Odin's a spear guy. He does
I
seem
guess.
like the type.
At first, the Vanir had the upper hand and gained ground quickly. They used spells to reduce the towering walls of Asgard to rubble. But the Aesirs would not give up, and they fought back and surged forward. They caused just as much destruction to Vanaheim, the world of the Vanir, as they did to Asgard's walls.
Those poor walls.
So, for a very long time, the battle raged on, and the longer this battle lasted, the clearer it became that neither side was going to win. Just too evenly matched, you know.
Yeah.
And the gods on both sides grew weary of the war. Talk of truce seemed better than all the turmoil. So the leaders of Aesir and the leaders of Vanir met to discuss each other's terms. And for a while they argued about what started the war and whether Aesir alone was guilty of starting the war or both sides contributed to the destruction.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it was settled that the Aesir and the Vanir would live side by side in peace and agree to exchange leaders as proof of their intentions. Vanir sent Norge and his son Freyr and Kvasir.
Cavassier?
I don't know. The wisest
That's
of the Vanir.
That's not how his name is pronounced, but that's what we called him in the last story, I'm pretty sure. Cavassier. He's a fine cognac.
The wisest of the Vanir also traveled with them because Freya wanted to stay by her family's side, and Kvasir foresought greatness should he travel with them. The Aesir welcomed them with delight. And even though they disliked that, Freyr and Freya were the offsprings of Norge with his sister. They don't like that incest.
Oh.
Period.
Yeah.
They don't like it. Mm-hmm.
They're not down with that incest stuff.
I guess not,
Yeah.
They appointed Norge and Freyr as high priests that preside over sacrifices. Freya was appointed the sacrificial priestess, and she would share her knowledge of witchcraft to teach the Aesir healing remedies and healing ointments. Most spells that were common to find in Vanaheim. As for Aesir, Odin sent Honir, who helped create Ask and Embla.
Oh, that guy again.
And he is the war god, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent him and the wise Mimir to live in Vanaheim. Honir was handsome and well-built, a figure of perfection. And Odin thought that he would make a great, inviolable leader in the war and peace alike. Mimir was just like Kvasir. He was held to be second to none in his understanding and wisdom.
Okay.
So, two smart cookies traded for one another.
Yeah, two smart, good-looking dudes.
Well, no, they weren't good-looking. They don't mention that the smart ones are good-looking.
The other two I see. I get it now. The other two, I see. So that's just their way of covering up for the fact that they probably weren't. There were two men that were just perfect tins, chiseled abs, and then there were two guys. They were very smart.
Technically, they only sent Nord and Freyr.
Mm-hmm.
But the other two wanted to go with them.
Fuck yeah. Why not?
So, Aesir got the better deal. Anyway. Vanir welcomed them both and accepted them. They at once appointed Honir to be one of their leaders with Mimir at his right hand, always ready to give his wise advice. Together they were unstoppable. When Honir and Mimir were separated, things were very different. If Honir stood alone in a council or meeting and the other gods asked his opinion, his reply was always the same. Let the others decide.
Let the others decide. I do not actually make decisions.
Vanir began
You shouldn't have given me this job.
Yeah. The Vanir began to suspect that the Aesirs tricked them and sent them a shitty replacement leader. Their suspicion turned to anger, and then it turned to thoughts of revenge. They seized Mimir, threw him to the ground, and chopped off his head. They told their messenger to take Mimir's head to Odin, and they did.
Oh, fuck.
Odin took Mimir's head and cradled it for a moment.
My poor friend.
Then he smeared the head with herbs to preserve it so that it would never decay. Then Odin sang charms over it and gave Mimir's head the power of speech back. And so its wisdom became Odin's wisdom, giving Odin many unknown truths. And that's that. Next part of the saga is called The Fortification of Asgard. Again, you have to watch the other episode to see what happens next.
Yeah. Check out our previous episode for that. Norse Tales, Volume 1. Or it'll just be Norse Tales. This will be Norse Tales Volume 2. But crazy stuff. Yeah. So the world was made from a giant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. People came from taint sweat.
The gods must be crazy.
Yeah, it's some wild
It's also
stuff.
A great movie.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're nuts.
They're nuts. There's a lot of, it seems that they were really prone to bouts of spontaneous aggression.
Yeah.
That's the difference, I think, between them and, a lot of the other stories we've read, they do get aggressive and stuff. But it seems way more instant elevation of aggression level with the Norse. It goes from and then they all laughed and drank mead. And he didn't like the way they laughed, so he killed everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well.
That escalated incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Just like that. I mean, with the witch.
Yeah.
The witch was she just kept talking about her lust for wealth, oh yeah, one of those. And so they tortured her, oh my God.
Yeah.
You didn't just to start by being hey lady, enough with the wealth stuff. Just straight to you know what? I don't like what she's talking about. Let's throw her in the fucking fire.
Yeah. Didn't work the first time. Do it again.
Do it again.
Didn't work the second time. Do it again.
I still
do it again.
I still do like the imagery on her popping up every time. Like it's a big deal too. Like, I am resurrected. You cannot hurt me. What are you doing? He just throws her back in the fire. Oh, I guess she didn't burn. I don't know. We'll give it another try.
One more time just to see.
Just to see.
This is called the thrice baked appeal.
Thrice baked witch. It's an ancient Norse recipe. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, our resources for this episode. Frithgarth. That's FRITHGARTH.weebly.com. A book called The Norse Myths, introduced and retold by Kevin Crossley Holland. And 13th century writer and poet, that's right, you know Kim always keeps it old school.
Mm-hmm.
Snorri.
Yep, Snorri.
Snorri
You got this.
Sturluson. I had a stone tongue-tied there for a minute. Snorri Sturluson. He wrote the original saga and called it Prose Edda. Without this guy, we actually wouldn't have these wonderful stories or a lot of other Norse stories. I think he was the guy who kind of...
He went all over and gathered all this shit.
Made it a point to gather it up and...
Sweden.
In Sweden and put it into English and all that good stuff. So Thank you, Snorri, even though you were long past or some type of vampire, Tom Cruise type of situation.
Yeah.
Waiting to bite me, but either way, thank you very much for bringing us that Norse mythology. And yeah, I hope you folks enjoy the Norse mythology we brought you. If you do, let us know in the comments anywhere. Yeah.
Or you can like and subscribe to us.
Like
too.
and
That's
subscribe.
also nice.
That always helps, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys always do, but keep it up.
Just a reminder.
And yeah, hit us up. Harass us anywhere on our Facebook, Howley Boys Productions at gmail.com. Send us an email. We'll take notes. So if you got anything to say it.
You got any requests?
Request it.
Do it.
Do it.
I want to know. Because I want to know. Because next up is a request.
Next up, actually, yeah, we are doing... Is this our first request? Is this the first request we've done?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing our first ever...
yeah,
we've got one other request, but we were saving that for a big event. But yeah, we're doing our first request episode ever with, what is it called?
The Nino.
Nino, yes. Shout out to Kyle Drew for requesting it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun learning.
Yeah. Yeah. We love that too, because we like to, when you send us stuff, we actually get to learn about stuff. Sometimes stuff we didn't know about before. So it's always nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
again, like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a
Good night,
night.
everybody.